So, but you had mentioned earlier about sprinkling in some tidbits, and it always excites me when somebody's willing to give up some knowledge, sprinkle in some of that stuff for all listeners out there. And I would love if you're willing to dive into that stuff.
Yeah, sure. The first way that I would talk about kind of starting to be aware of what your brand is and how, what is the current state of it and how it can be improved is going to be to talk to your current and past clients a little bit. And also talk to your employees because they have a ton of insight on this as well. They're the ones that are actually talking to clients, day to day and hearing the feedback and hearing things. And this doesn't need to be this like overdone process. This can be just as simple as you're closing out a project, or even with some past projects, just reaching back out, even just on the phone, right? Just calling people and seeing how things are going and asking if you can just ask a few questions. But what you're trying to get to in this exercise is what really does make you different. Why are people working with you? And it shouldn't be because of price, right? If you're competing on price, you are going to always be competing on price, and that takes away value. That's just like a lot of times the cheapest bid wins, and who wants to work in that? Also, those clients are not always the best match, right? And so you're trying to figure out how you're competing, what clients are thinking about you, why they picked you, and also like what could you be doing different? It's the most simple yet overlooked thing I see is that people don't really understand what makes them special and why their clients choose them. And again, so price isn't one. It's also not going to be things like, well, we show up on time. Like that used to be a thing and it still can be. But any company that's trying to do a good job is also saying those things, right? We're trustworthy. We do great work. Like those are things that everybody says. And so you have to find ways to step outside of that box and see yourself through your clients and potential clients' lens so that you can really find those marketable things. And those are areas to focus on, right? If you don't think you have any, try to find some. That's a great way. Like maybe you can add in a weekly status report, right? That maybe your clients really are super busy and they just want to get text messages. So you add in a weekly text report that you send out to clients that's just like, here's what we did, here's what we got done, here's what's coming up next week, like whatever it may be, right? Maybe you decide, maybe you're high end, right? And so maybe you show up on day one with like some real fancy chocolates or something, I mean, I don't know. There's a bunch of different things you can do, but really identifying those areas where you can stand out, and you want to pull from your existing values, right? So if it is high end or like excellence is a true value, think of ways to build upon that, right? How can we show it by more than just saying we do excellent work? How can you really showcase those things? And that's where some of those types of correspondence could come in. Like for example, in at Wax Creek in the branding agency, we identified a long time ago that we were a magician brand, right? And so our whole essence is about transformation and magic and making people feel that when they work with us. And so we started like when we landed on a logo, when we finished the logo, because that's kind of a hard thing, right? Like picking a logo is really hard. And so when we got to that point, we would send the client stickers of the logo. So they'd get a whole pack of stickers that they could start handing out of the new logo. We definitely sent a lot of food and like edible arrangements and things like that because they feel special and they feel really neat to be on the receiving end of. So it's not this major overdone thing. It's just these little touch points that are in alignment with who you are and what you do and why it matters that can go a really long way with clients and help to solidify them as future clients and also referrals.